The whole world got shocked the other day when media reports said Ukraine, in a daring attack, managed to damage or destroy around 40 planes of Russia. They included fighter jets and very costly bombers. People wondered as to how Ukraine could do that. Were not the bombers kept in hangars or concrete bunkers? Was not there any proper air defense systems, especially when Russia has got air defense systems like S-400 and S-500? India recently proved the strength and validity of S-400 air defense system in the recently concluded India-Pakistan war. So, if India can do that, why not Russia? Russia manufactures those air defense systems. What happened to Russia? Those questions were asked by many. Now the answer to those doubts have come. Michael Flynn, a former national security advisor of the United States, explained as to why Russia was forced to keep those bombers in open, making them vulnerable. So that gives rise to another doubt and another question. If Russia had to keep those bombers in open, what was the reason? The reason was, Russia had signed in an agreement with the United States that made it necessary for Russia to keep those planes in open. In that case, the US will also have to keep those planes in open. You're right. Yes, the US also keeps such bombers in open and their location is known. Now there is another doubt. In that case, if those details fell into the hands of some rogue countries, for example, Iran, I'm not saying Iran is a completely rogue country, but there are rogue elements in Iran. Then if that details went to terror organizations like Houthis, then what will happen? Of course, the US is in danger, no doubt about that. So let's go to the details of the whole issue. Welcome to Insights. I am Harkumar. As I said earlier the other day, a former national security advisor of the United States, Michael Flynn, said it was the START treaty that made Russia vulnerable. To be precise, Russian bombers vulnerable. Because of that, the bombers had to be kept in open. They could not be kept in hangars. They could not be kept in, concrete bunkers. The START Treaty 2, which was signed between, Barack Obama, who was the president of the US in 2010, and Russia's then Prime Minister, made it necessary for both Russia and the United States to provide periodically all the details of their bombers, then their ICBMs which can carry nuclear weapons, their SLBMs, satellite launched ballistic missiles, etc. And they were to be kept, bombers were to be parked in the open because satellites needed to track the movements of those bombers. The number of warheads as per the agreement in possession of both the countries was limited to 800. That means both the US and Russia could possess around 800 nuclear warheads. That was wrong. 1,550 nuclear warheads. The nuclear weapon bomb carrying vehicles, that is SLBMs, ICBMs and bomber planes, their number was to be limited to 800. And the location of those bombers and missiles, whether they were deployed or not deployed, had to be provided to each other. And each party had the right to inspect that. So everything was very clear, precise. That was to prevent any party from violating the norms of START treaty. But the same clauses, I think, became a villain or Achilles heel for Russia. Because of that, that might have been leaked by the United States deliberately, or accidentally that might have got leaked out to Ukraine. When you consider that Ukraine is an ally of the US, there is even chance that the US might have deliberately leaked those details. In that case, there is another doubt. Suppose if Russia also leaks out such strategic information, what will happen? Definitely, the costly US bombers, B-52G or B-52H or BIB or even B-2A bomber, they are all in danger. If countries like, Iran or any other Afghanistan or any other terror group manages to smuggle in FPV drones, these FPV drones are not very costly. They are very small. They could be just packed in a baggage, big suitcase. So in that case, if they manages to take it to near those locations where these bombers are parked, or these ICBMs are deployed, then God forbid, that could happen. Mark my words, I'm not exaggerating. This is very much possible. If that can happen to Russia, why not to the United States? Of late, the US, which has been taking pride in the fact that after 9/11 there were no terrorist attack in their country, had to bow their head in shame. The recent weeks, 2 terror attacks happened in the United States, that too at Washington DC. In one attack, 2 officials of Israel embassy were killed. In another attack the other day, an Egyptian-born guy who became a citizen of the US. I don't know whether he has been given citizenship, but who is at present a resident of the US and who is working as a taxi driver. He attacked a group of demonstrators or protesters who held a rally in support of Israel. So now terror groups are very active in the US. You know what is going to happen? And I think the US is in real danger. What happened in Russia, it may be an eye-opener for terror groups if they repeat that in any other country. So there may be people who ask, the same can happen to any other country like India or China. Theoretically, that is true. But at the same time, you need to remember that India and China have not signed in any treaty, or they have not made public the locations where their ICBMs or other bomb or their planes or fighter jets that can carry nuclear bombs are parked. And there, the fighter jets of no other country is parked in the open. So this is a very peculiar situation. I think perhaps Russia will realize that, of course, there is a security lapse from the part of Russia. Russia still could have protected their bombers by installing, proper air defense systems. Then their intelligence was very weak. That is another, aspect which is the takeaway from this tragedy. So it gives an insight into the type of nature of war in the coming days. This was actually a kind of terrorist attack. It could be like an attack of Mossad, not terrorist, Mossad attack, Israel attack. So I think it has a great deal to do with intelligence. Earlier in the Soviet era, the KGB was a very strong intelligence agency, and they were on a par with the CIA or Mossad. But now it's not the same. After Soviet era, their institutions have all deteriorated. So I think it is going to be a very difficult situation for Russia. Though Russia has got all the technology, all the power, all the weaponry, everything is there. But at the same time, their intelligence is weak, and that is their Achilles heel, and that proved very costly in the war with Ukraine. Meet you with updates. Till then, goodbye.